friends, welcome back to Truthatude. My name is Lindsay and today I'm going to be talking about how to stop comparing yourself to other women. So I know for me, when I was going through my quarter life crisis, I found myself comparing what I was doing or what I was trying to accomplish to everybody else in my age bracket, and I felt like there were just a ton of thoughts running through my head that were telling me that I should have done this or been this or achieved this or accomplished this by now. There were so many by now thoughts that I'm not this by now, I should have a house by now, I should have a family by now, I should be married by now. And I know that this is something that a ton of women experience and nobody ever tells us that this is gonna happen. I love this book by Christine Hassler, and it talks about the quarter life crisis. It's called 20 something 20 everything. If you have not read this book, I highly recommend it. But it really helped me figure out that I was on my own journey and I was comparing myself to all of these people, assuming that they had more figured out than I did, when really that's not the case. And I really wanted to talk about that today, about this idea of comparing ourselves, especially as women, to other people and to other women. So imagine you're on a road, a long stretch of road. You're the only car out there. There's no stop signs, there's no traffic lights, there's no speed limit signs. You're the only car on this open stretch of road. How would you know how fast or how slow you should be going? You wouldn't, right? This is kind of like your life. Even if you're on a road where there's a ton of cars of different sizes and different shapes and different models, and they're all going different speeds and in different directions, comparing yourself to those other cars on the road would be exhausting. We would spend so much wasted time and energy trying to figure out which one of those was doing it the right way. And this is kind of a metaphor for your life. Yes, there's a ton of other noise and a ton of other traffic happening, but you are on this race alone. You are on this road alone. So there's really no right way or wrong way to do it, because it is your journey. It is your race and you're riding this thing out solo. So I highly encourage you to take a look at different areas of your life and examine, where are you comparing yourself to others? A lot of women feel the pressure to be married by a certain age, to have kids by a certain age, to reach a certain level in their career or their education. And I know for me, I kind of went a very non-traditional path. I chose not to have children. I chose not to get married for a long time, and I'm not focused on that. I decided to focus on a lot of other things, and there's nothing wrong with the order to which you choose to do those things, or if you choose not to do any of those things. And I think that the messaging out there is so conflicting for women. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise kids and get married, beautiful. Do it at whatever age feels right for you. Same thing if you want to be a career woman and you choose not to have children or choose not to have, a partner. That's okay too, and you can figure that out in your own time. Or if you're still struggling with what to do, that's okay, because you're not alone. We're all in this together, sister. We do compare ourselves a lot to people, and there are healthy levels of comparison, especially if we use those comparisons for motivation. But I caution you, be careful. Don't fall into hero worship, where we idolize this person who seems to have it all figured out, or they're doing all the right things, making all the right moves, because you're really only seeing the Hollywood version of them, especially if it's somebody on social media. You are only seeing or hearing the story that they want you to see or that they want you to know. And then also be wary of hard knock worship. Now, this is something I've experienced in my life because I grew up in a very tumultuous childhood and had a lot of traumatic events in my life early on, where people will tell me, wow, like you really had it hard. At least I didn't have it as hard as you. And I think that we can fall into this hard knock worship where it kind of gives us a quick little ego boost because we can say, well, at least I'm not as bad off as they are, or wow, like, at least I don't have it as bad as them. That can be a quick little ego boost or a dose of confidence for us, or a dose of motivation to know that we don't have it as bad as some people, but that motivation is not going to last, and it can actually turn into a toxic form of motivation. So I want to go on a little side note tangent about motivation, because I think that every emotion that we experience as women, as humans, every human emotion is valuable, and it's we who assign a negative or a positive value to these emotions, and the great equalizer is motivation. So any emotion, good or bad, positive or negative, can either motivate you or demotivate you. Think about happiness. Happiness can be a great motivator. You're striving for happiness, but it can also be a demotivator and can be content. You're content with your situation. You may not be happy, but you're content, you're satisfied, and you're not motivated to move towards anything more or go for anything greater. Same thing with sadness or anger. That can motivate us. That can give us the kick in the ass that we need to do something. At the same time, that sadness, that anger, that depression can be debilitating. So, my little tangent on motivation, use those emotions in a strategic way as motivation, but just be aware that any emotion can be a motivator or a demotivator. Unfortunately, when we compare ourselves to each other, especially other women, this often leads to a lot of girl-on-girl hate. It is an epidemic in the female population. We hate on each other way too much. I did a whole video on bullying, which I'll leave a link below, on how women, even as adults, experience bullying in the workplace, in our personal lives, even in our friendship circles, from other women. This kind of girl-on-girl hate and comparing ourselves to each other feeds a billion-dollar industry that thrives on us not only hating ourselves, but hating each other. When we feel the need to criticize other women, it's usually because there is some insecurity of our own that is coming to the surface. Either they have something that we want, they're doing something that we want to do, or maybe they are demonstrating a behavior that we actually don't like about ourselves. And this causes us to talk shit, to, gripe about people, to bring them down online especially. And this doesn't help any of us. This is not the woman that you want to be. So when we feel some type of way towards another woman, we really need to check in with ourselves and ask, what's really going on here? What's happening? What's coming up for me? Is this an issue that I actually have with this other woman, or is this an issue that's really about me that I need to figure out? Do I have some work here that I need to do? And most of the time, if we're hating on another woman, it's because we have some work to do. Because I'll tell you what, empowered women empower other women, and truly confident, secure women don't have time, energy, or space to bring other women down. So, how do we stop comparing ourselves to one another and start feeling more confident in our own pace, in our own road, in our own journey? I have 5 tips. Number 1, own your story. Wherever you are at in your journey, own it. Look back at your own experiences in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, and figure out what you learned from them. Discover your own resiliency. What did you learn from that experience? What did you achieve? Look back and celebrate the things that were wonderful in your past and just really propelled you as a rock star. Look at the bad shit that happened to you. What did you learn from it? How did you grow from it? Learn to own your story and create the narrative that you want to put out into the world, so that anytime any hater comes at you, it doesn't even faze you, because you own your story. You know what's gone on in your life. You know what's real and what's not. So own your story and recognize your own journey. And part 2 of that is to enjoy learning other people's stories. Don't just take what people show you on social media at face value. Get to know that person and really listen and discover and explore their whole story. You might make a new friend out of it. Part of owning your journey brings me to tip number 2. Celebrate small wins, or micro victories as I call it. Learn to recognize all the wonderful things that happen to you in your journey, in your life, all the small wins that you get in your day-to-day life, in your professional life, your relationships. Learn to celebrate yourself in small ways and learn to celebrate others in small ways, and develop this sense of gratitude for the good and the joy and the beauty that's in your life. Number 3, I talk about this a lot and I talked about it in the previous video, but the third tip is develop your aptitude for learning. Become a learner. When you develop your ability to be a learner, you can be good at pretty much anything you try. Trust me, you're not going to excel or be exceptional in anything, but you can be good at pretty much anything you try if you just develop your aptitude for learning. When you begin developing your aptitude for learning, and you are constantly being curious and learning and improving and growing yourself, you will not have time or space or the energy to compare yourself to others or even pay attention to really what anybody else is doing. You will be able to focus on yourself and your journey. So, foster your aptitude for learning. Become a learner. Try something totally different. Study something that you may have never been interested in before. Read a book about something that you've never even thought you would care about. Just explore, be curious. I did this so random thing once. I joined a rowing crew. I had gone to the World Rowing Championships for my job, and I fell in love with the sport of rowing, and I knew that it required extreme athletic ability, which I do not have, but I have mild athletic ability, and I really just wanted to try it. And so I did. I joined a rowing crew, and I was not good at it, but I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the process of learning and learning all about rowing and the technique and pushing myself physically, and it was absolutely wonderful. I also did this with my little tangent of learning about outer space and the planets. I nerded out hardcore about the planets. I learned so much about Neptune and Uranus. They're amazing planets, by the way, but none of that has anything to do with my professional growth. It doesn't have anything to do with goals that I'm trying to achieve. It's just I wanted to continue learning and expanding my horizons. And when you foster your aptitude for learning, it makes you such an interesting person, and you can be a part of conversations that you may have not otherwise been a part of, because now you have more things to talk about. So be a learner. This leads me to my next tip when you're becoming a learner. Tip number 4, learn to suck at something and be okay with it. When you become a learner, and you will quickly learn that you may not be good or great at everything you try, but it's okay. If you enjoy doing something but you suck at it, just learning to do it for the pure joy makes you an exceptional person, and it also builds your self-esteem and kind of does away with that need to compare yourself to anybody else. This is something I learned from a mentor of mine who really stressed the importance of learning to suck at something. Now, I do pole dancing fitness class, and I absolutely love it. If you have not tried pole fitness, my sisters, try it. If you want to be more sexy and self-positive and love your body and love other women, pole dancing, girl, I'm telling you, it's a humbling sport, but it's very exciting as a woman to explore, and it's so much fun. I digress. But pole dancing was something that was totally out of my comfort zone, and I am not good at it. I suck at pole fitness, but I absolutely love it. Every time I get on the pole, I laugh at myself. I try really hard. I try to look sexy, but I don't. but I still enjoy it and I show up to that pole for me. And that is something that I encourage you to do. If there's something that you suck at, but you get joy from it, continue to do it and own it. Just know that you suck at it and keep doing it. When you learn to suck at something and be okay with it, you really do develop this ability to not care what other people think, and you learn to just enjoy your life for the sake of the enjoyment, which is my biggest wish for you. You also learn to push your boundaries and become more of an interesting person. You will have way more to talk about, like I said, when you develop your aptitude for learning and you also suck at things. It's because you tried a bunch of things and now you bring more to any conversation. This also creates a new reference point for what you are capable of doing and also what scares you. If you go out and you try a bunch of different things and you suck at a bunch of different things, at least you know you tried and you actually know what you're capable of because you tried them, and you're no longer going to be scared to try new things. So learn to suck at something and be okay with it. And just remember, it's not that people are really actually better at you than anything. They've just really developed their skills as a learner and developed this ability to suck at something without caring. They have grown this muscle as a learner, and so everything they do looks effortless, it looks flawless, but trust me, they suck at something. For my last, most important, and favorite tip on how not to compare yourself to others, learn to lift someone else up. Be a cheerleader, especially for other women, because empowered women empower women. We need to do more of this, especially for our sisters. Look for something good and don't be so quick to criticize, especially other women. Use the age-old adage, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. There you have it, ladies. Some really easy ways to learn how to stop comparing yourself to others and to feel more confident and secure in yourself. Just remember, it's your race, so get comfortable going at your own pace, and also remember that empowered women empower women. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that we can continue to grow our tribe of powerful sisters to love and support one another. I put out videos every Tuesday, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss them. Also, follow me on social media if you aren't already. I will leave the links below in the description box. And for more inspiration, check out the blog, Truthatude.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Share it with a sister who could use a little inspiration. I love you. Until next time, stay true to the Truthatude. I love you. Ciao. Wherever you at.